Command your morning, command your wealth. Good morning, champions. Today is not just another sunrise, it's a summons, a call to every dreamer, doer, and dominator in this room to recognize that how you start your morning determines how you shape your wealth, your influence, and your future. You see, the sun doesn't rise to wake you up. It rises to remind you that greatness begins before the world gets noisy. This is not about motivation, it's about activation. Because when you command your morning with clarity, discipline, and intention, you don't just get ahead, you redefine the game. And make no mistake, success doesn't start when you show up at work, it starts when you show up for yourself at sunrise. The first hour of your day writes the script for your entire destiny. Start it with purpose or surrender it to chaos. The first hour of your day isn't just another 60 minutes. It's sacred territory. It's the launch pad for your energy, your focus, your decisions, and ultimately your destiny. How you command that first hour determines whether you spend the day reacting to life or creating it. Most people wake up into chaos. They reach for their phones, check social media, read emails, and immediately step into a world that demands something from them before they've even given something to themselves. That's not how successful people operate. Champions don't wake up to the world, they wake the world up. The most powerful decision you can make for your life and wealth is to treat the first hour of your day as a sacred ritual, a non-negotiable meeting with your future self. Why? Because your mind is most programmable in the moments right after waking. That's when your subconscious is wide open. So if you feed it fear, distraction, or noise, you're setting the tone for a life built on reaction and anxiety. But if you feed it vision, gratitude, purpose, and strategy, you're programming success into the very foundation of your day. Think about this. Your first hour is either filled with intention or interruption. And the scary truth is, interruption doesn't wait for your permission. If you don't claim your morning will claim you. And it will do so with urgency, emails, problems, and to-do lists that belong to someone else's agenda. That's how wealth slips through your fingers, not because you're not smart enough or capable enough, but because you gave the most powerful part of your day away for free. Winners don't operate like that. They guard their mornings with the same intensity a warrior guards the front line. They understand that how you start determines how you finish. If you start with confusion, you'll walk through your day in a fog. If you start with clarity, you'll move like a guided missile, locked in and unshakable. You cannot afford to leave your day to chance. There's too much at stake. Your vision, your business, your family, your legacy, it all hinges on your ability to take dominion over your day before the world has a chance to distract you. When you command your morning, you step into the day already winning. You've already prayed, planned, visualized, exercised, or reflected before the world even got out of bed. That's not just a routine, it's leverage. And in a world full of noise, leverage is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. The first hour of your day is where you plant the seeds of wealth. It's where you rehearse who you're becoming. You don't become successful when the money hits the account. You become successful when your habits, especially in the quiet early hours, reflect the person capable of producing that level of abundance. That's what most people miss. They chase results but ignore routines. They want the harvest but neglect the planting season. The first hour is your planting season. Every single day, you water your mind with powerful thoughts. You fertilize your goals with clarity, you remove the weeds of distraction, and you align your actions with your mission. This isn't about being a morning person, it's about being a purpose person. It's not about waking up early to impress anyone. It's about waking up with the resolve to not live another day below your potential. You don't rise early just to get more done. You rise early to become more of who you were created to be. And that becoming starts in the first hour. What's the alternative? Snooze button living, drifting through your morning, reacting to the urgent instead of building toward the important. That's not just poor time management, it's wealth sabotage. Your greatest competitor isn't someone else. It's the version of you that refuses to take ownership of the morning. But when you do take ownership, everything changes. You begin to see yourself as the architect of your life, not the victim of your schedule. You become proactive, powerful, and profitable, not just in business, but in mindset, relationships, health, and purpose. That first hour is the training ground for who you'll be when pressure hits, when opportunity knocks, when adversity comes. You're not just preparing for a good day, you're preparing for a great life. So let me ask you, what does your first hour look like? Are you designing it or just surviving it? Are you filling it with fuel or feeding it with distractions? If you want to command your wealth, you have to first command your morning. And if you want to command your morning, you must decide right now that you are no longer available for chaos. You are only available for clarity, strategy, intention, and legacy. Because when the world sees someone who owns their morning, it can't help but respect them. Success respects structure, wealth respects discipline, and life respects the person who wakes up early not just to grind, but to grow. So tomorrow morning, before the sun even finishes rising, make the decision that your first hour belongs to no one but you and your purpose, because the pen that writes the story of your life is held in that hour. And what you write there determines everything that follows. Wealth doesn't respond to wishes, it responds to discipline, especially before the world wakes up. Let's be clear, wealth is not the result of chance, and it certainly doesn't bow to hope. Wishing for success will never bring it to your doorstep. Wealth respects one thing, discipline, not loud, flashy ambition, but quiet, consistent, daily discipline, especially in the hours most people are still asleep. While others are dreaming, achievers are designing. While others are snoozing, leaders are strategizing. Wealth is a reward for the few who have chosen discipline over distraction. Let that settle in. Wealth isn't about how badly you want it. It's about how consistently you're willing to work for it, especially when no one is watching. You don't become a millionaire by accident, and you certainly don't build legacy wealth by showing up when you feel like it. Discipline is the silent engine behind every fortune, and that engine runs hottest in the early morning hours, before the demands of the day attempt to hijack your purpose. That's the battlefield right there, the moment when your alarm rings and you're faced with a decision, to rise with intention or to roll over into mediocrity. Every single day, that moment is a test. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel, it demands what you've decided, because success isn't emotional, it's structural. If your mornings are emotional, your income will be inconsistent, but if your mornings are built on structure and non-negotiables, your wealth will be predictable. Most people misunderstand wealth. They think it's about taking massive action occasionally, but true wealth is the byproduct of small, intentional actions repeated without fail. That's why the morning is so crucial. It's the one part of your day where you still have full control. Before emails, before clients, before distractions, you still own your choices, and if you can build discipline there, you can build it anywhere. Think about the greats in any field, athletes, investors, entrepreneurs, leaders. They all have one thing in common, ruthless morning discipline. Not because it's trendy, but because it's effective. They know that how they move in the morning determines how money moves toward them. You can't attract prosperity while practicing passivity. Discipline is what builds the inner infrastructure strong enough to handle the outer success. It's the gym for your character, the lab for your mindset, the furnace for your resilience. You don't just wake up early to check off a box. You wake up early to sharpen your sword, to silence your excuses, and to cement the habits that wealth responds to. Wealth flows toward order. Discipline creates that order. When your life has patterns of excellence, money finds you not because of luck, but because wealth recognizes alignment. And there's no greater display of alignment than a person who rises early, focused, with their goals in hand and their vision in their mouth. That's not just a high performer, that's a high frequency magnet for opportunity. People think discipline is restrictive, but the truth is, discipline is the key to freedom. You can't be financially free if you're mentally lazy. You can't be wealthy if your habits are weak. The self-made millionaires, the game changers, the empire builders, they didn't get there by chance. They got there by designing their lives down to the minute, especially the minutes that others throw away. Discipline is doing what your future requires, not what your feelings suggest. And that kind of mindset must be installed at sunrise, when the world is still quiet and your choices are still yours. Don't mistake motivation for mastery. Motivation gets you up once. Discipline keeps you up every day. And if you want wealth, you better master the art of showing up whether you feel like it or not. Some people are waiting for the right time to get serious, but serious wealth doesn't wait. It's attracted to those who are already moving. So the question is, what are you doing before the rest of the world begins? Are you preparing? Are you executing? Or are you postponing your greatness to fit into someone else's schedule? The morning isn't just a time slot. It's a strategic advantage. The quiet hours are where you make decisions that echo into your bank account, your business, and your body of work. You don't become successful in public until you've been disciplined in private. Wealth is always watching. It's looking for where to land. It's not looking for people who talk about their goals. It's looking for people whose routines prove their readiness. Every early morning you invest in yourself is a down payment on your future. Every disciplined sunrise you dominate puts compound interest on your character. This is the secret, not hustle, not hype, not hashtags, but discipline, consistent, focused, invisible work that becomes visible when wealth finally arrives. That's the truth they don't tell you in highlight reels. The ones who build real wealth don't chase the spotlight, they chase habits, and they do it while the rest of the world sleeps. That's where real power lies. In the early, disciplined hours where choices are made without applause. So if you want to build a future that lasts, build a morning that leads, not just once, but every single day, because when you show discipline at dawn, wealth takes notice. And when wealth takes notice, your life begins to change, not by luck, but by law. Your morning routine isn't a ritual, it's a revenue strategy. Design it like your income depends on it, because it does. Let's break the illusion right now. Your morning routine isn't some soft feel-good ritual meant only to boost your mood or check a personal development box. No, your morning routine is a business plan. It's a profit strategy. It's the first and most critical system in your wealth-building machine, and if you're not treating it like a revenue-generating operation, you're already losing money before the sun even rises. Most people think wealth starts in the market, the office, the launch, or the deal, but that's not where money is made. That's where money shows up after it's already been earned through discipline, preparation, and alignment, and all of that starts in your morning routine. The truth is, if your income feels stagnant, if your progress feels slow, if your business isn't scaling, look no further than how you're starting your day, because the morning is either a window into your next level or a mirror of your current limits. The difference is in how intentionally you design your routine. Do you have a routine that fuels your mind, sharpens your body, aligns your focus, and commits your spirit? Or are you winging it, waking up into distraction, grabbing your phone, drowning in notifications, and wondering why clarity and cash flow are missing from your life? Your income depends on your intentionality. And the most intentional part of your life must be the beginning of your day. That's when your power is pure. That's when your mind is unpolluted. That's when you're most able to command your direction, instead of reacting to someone else's. This is why the wealthy don't fit in a morning routine. They build their empire around it because they understand the return on investment for a morning well executed is multiplied all day long. Every focused minute in the morning pays you back in hours of productivity, decision-making strength, leadership presence, and brand alignment. Let's get tactical. If you're not starting your morning with movement, your energy will lag. If you're not reviewing your goals, your vision will drift. If you're not praying, meditating, or aligning with your values, your integrity will weaken. And if you're not reading, learning, or expanding, your innovation will stall. Each one of those missing pieces is a hole in your revenue strategy because wealth isn't attracted to the distracted, it's attracted to the dialed in. Your morning must be a factory where clarity is manufactured, distractions are disarmed, and your internal economy is activated. Think about how powerful it is to begin every day knowing exactly who you are, where you're going, and what you must execute before the world has even gotten dressed. That's power, that's positioning. That's what top earners do. And if you want to join the ranks of the financially free, the highly paid, and the deeply fulfilled, you must move from casual to calculated in your mornings. Don't do what feels good. Do what drives results. Structure your routine the way a CEO would structure a revenue meeting. Clear agenda, non-negotiable targets, and time-bound outcomes. You are not just waking up. You are launching the mission of your day, and that launch determines whether today produces value or just burns energy. When you get this, when it clicks, everything shifts. You stop treating mornings like a leftover and start treating them like leverage. You stop looking for hacks and start building habits. You stop relying on motivation and start relying on momentum. Your morning routine becomes your strategic advantage. It becomes your moat. It becomes the thing that sets you apart in a world full of chaos and comparison. Because while others are still sleeping on their potential, you're executing. While others are still reacting to yesterday, you're producing results today. Wealth is always searching for structure. Your morning routine tells wealth whether or not you're ready. Don't confuse activity with alignment. Waking up early isn't enough. You can rise with the sun and still waste the moment if there's no design. So design it. Architect your mornings with ruthless precision. Choose activities that activate. Eliminate inputs that distract. Anchor into principles that elevate. And repeat that process until it becomes automatic. Because the compounding effect of disciplined mornings is exponential. Over time, it rewires your identity. You no longer try to be productive. You are productive. You no longer hope for results. You expect them. Because you've trained yourself every morning to operate at the level your wealth requires. That's the mindset shift. It's not about having a morning routine. It's about having the right money-making routine. One that aligns your energy, focus, and habits with your income goals, your business growth, and your purpose-driven legacy. This is how you build sustainable success, not by chance, not by hype, but by stacking disciplined mornings that make high-income days inevitable. So starting tomorrow, don't just wake up. Rise like your bank account depends on it. Because it does, and the world doesn't pay you for what you want. It pays you for what you consistently do. So design your mornings to do what wealth respects. Build, focus, execute, and dominate. The battlefield for success is won before 7 a.m. Command your thoughts, command your outcome. Before the first email, before the first phone call, before the noise, pressure, and people start pulling on your time, there's a sacred space in the early hours where your success is either secured or sabotaged. That space before 7 a.m. is not just quiet, it's strategic. It's the battlefield where your next level is fought for and won. Because success doesn't begin when the world gets busy, it begins when your mind gets clear. And clarity is not accidental, it is commanded, and the person who commands their thoughts before the world, commands their attention, is the one who controls outcomes instead of becoming a casualty of circumstances. The truth is simple. If you don't win the morning, you don't win the day. And if you don't win the day, you're losing ground in the war for your future. That's why high performers, leaders, visionaries, and legacy builders all have one thing in common. They own their early hours like their life depends on it, because it does. Success is not a reward for activity, it's a reward for alignment. And alignment starts in your thoughts. Your thoughts create your emotions create your behaviors, and your behaviors create your results. So if your mind is cluttered with anxiety, distraction, and noise when you wake up, you're already behind. But when you rise and declare to, day belongs to me, and you take authority over your mindset, your intention, your focus, you step into the driver's seat of your life. The battlefield for success is not outside you, it's within you. It's in the decisions you make when no one's watching. It's in the conversation you have with yourself when the alarm goes off. It's in the choice to meditate, to visualize, to declare your goals, to pray, to journal, to exercise, to fill your mind with wisdom and your heart with gratitude before the world throws its chaos at you. Most people start their day in reaction. They reach for their phone and let someone else's crisis hijack their peace. They check messages and social media and let the opinions, problems, and urgency of others set the emotional tone for the day. That's not ownership, that's mental slavery, and you cannot be a slave to someone else's agenda and a commander of your own future at the same time. If your thoughts are not under your control, then your outcomes never will be. Because how you think determines how you move, you can't afford to start your day with uncertainty. You can't afford to hand over your mind to the world's noise before you've given it direction. Think of your thoughts like soldiers on the battlefield. If you don't line them up, give them orders, give them focus, they will scatter, and scattered thoughts create scattered results. But focused thoughts, aligned, intentional, empowering thoughts, become the foundation of unshakable action. Before 7 a.m. is not just about waking up. It's about rising up. It's about stepping into your calling with authority. It's about breaking the loop of procrastination, anxiety, and indecision by replacing it with structure, strategy, and mental strength. It's about preparing your mind to lead your life, not just survive it. Because let me tell you something, every breakthrough you want in your life is on the other side of a thought you haven't taken control of yet. Every limitation you feel is rooted in an unchecked belief. Every ceiling you hit is tied to an old story you're still playing on repeat in your head, and the only way to rewrite that story is to get in the arena early, before the world drowns you in distraction. That's why morning matters. That's why commanding your thoughts before 7 a.m. is non-negotiable. It's not a luxury, it's not a trend, it's warfare, mental warfare, emotional warfare, strategic warfare. And the person who wins this inner war becomes unstoppable in the external world. Because when you walk out the door already clear, already confident, already grounded in who you are and what you're doing, you become a force. Distraction can't shake you, doubt can't stop you, delay can't slow you, because you've already won. You've already aligned. You've already declared your victory before the day even begins. That's the kind of person wealth respects. That's the kind of person leadership trusts. That's the kind of person opportunity is attracted to. And that kind of person isn't built in the moment of pressure. They're built in the moment of preparation. And that preparation happens before 7 a.m. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being present, being intentional, being disciplined enough to carve out time to think, plan, breathe, build, believe. And that window is precious, because once the day begins, life starts pulling at you. But when you've already filled your tank mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, you're not easily depleted. You've already loaded your mind with affirmations, your heart with purpose, your body with strength. You've already rehearsed your goals, you've already visualized the outcome, so when the world throws curveballs, you're ready, not because the day is easier, but because you're stronger. You've already fought and won the most important battle, the battle for your mindset. The person who wins the battle before 7 a.m. is the person who writes the script for their future. While others wait for clarity, you create it. While others seek motivation, you embody it. While others complain about the pressure, you rise above it because you've already won in the only place that matters, your mind. So what does your battlefield look like? What are your first thoughts in the morning? Are they intentional or accidental? Are they empowering or defeating? Are they reactive or visionary? Because you get to choose. And that choice, made every morning before the rest of the world even realizes the day has started, becomes the foundation of your outcomes. You can't afford to leave it to chance. You can't afford to start your day without first commanding your thoughts like your life depends on it, because it does. The mind is the master architect of your reality. And the blueprint it draws each morning sets the structure for your day, your income, your relationships, your legacy. So every morning you must step onto the battlefield like a general, not a soldier taking orders, but a leader giving them. Tell your thoughts where to go. Tell your energy where to focus. Tell your goals how to grow. Do it with boldness. Do it with fire. Do it with clarity. And do it before the world tells you otherwise. Because when you command your thoughts before 7 a.m., you command your outcomes for the rest of your life. And that is how success is won, not in a meeting, not on a stage, not in a bank account, but in the quiet, early hours where champions are made, battles are won, and the foundation for greatness is laid. If you can't command your morning, you'll never command your money, because money obeys masters, not amateurs. Let's stop pretending money is complicated. Money is not mysterious. It's not elusive. Money is not biased. It doesn't care who you are, where you're from, what your past looks like, or how many degrees you have. Money doesn't respect credentials. It respects command. And if you can't command your own morning, don't expect to command your marketplace. Don't expect to lead a team, scale a vision, or attract abundance into a life that's built on chaos and delay. Money obeys masters, and mastery starts in the morning. Before you ever see a deposit, a contract, a wire transfer, or a launch day success, what you've done when no one's watching is already deciding your financial future. People want the fruit of wealth but reject the roots of routine. They want overflow but avoid order. They want high income but resist high discipline. But hear this. Money is organized energy, and energy only flows freely in systems of control. So if you can't control you, money will never flow to you. Every wealthy person you admire, whether they say it out loud or not, is a master of rhythm, routine, and rigorous morning structure. Not because it's a trend, not because it's sexy, but because they understand the foundational law of success. You command the day, or the day consumes you. And when the day consumes you, it will consume your decisions, your time, your focus, your power, and ultimately your income. You don't accidentally become financially free. You structure yourself into freedom. And structure begins with how you show up when no one's clapping, when it's dark, when it's quiet, when the bed feels good, but purpose demands you rise. That's when money is watching. Money watches how you move before the world does. It watches whether you're a creator or a consumer, whether you move with urgency or comfort, whether you live by values or feelings, and it flows to those who move like masters, masters of self, masters of time, masters of mindset, masters of habits, and all mastery begins in the morning. That's the truth. You can't live a sloppy morning and expect a sharp bottom line. You can't keep hitting snooze on your potential and expect God, or the market, or your clients to take you seriously. Wealth flows to authority, and you can't have authority in business, in negotiation, in leadership, if you can't even have authority over your alarm clock. Think about that. If you can't command yourself, what makes you think you can command capital? If you can't dominate the first hour of your day, why would wealth trust you with more responsibility? The universe doesn't pay people based on potential. It pays people based on proof, and your morning is the first piece of proof you offer the world every single day. It tells the world who you are, how you think, and what you're ready for. It tells your goals whether to run toward you or keep their distance. It tells your destiny whether you're prepared or just performing. And that's why you must treat your morning like a boardroom meeting with your legacy. You don't show up late to that. You don't cancel it. You don't wing it. You come ready. You come prepared. You come dressed with clarity, showing up with decision, making power and full conviction. Because this isn't just about waking up. It's about taking over your time, taking over your emotions, taking over your day with such clarity and dominance that everything else that happens is just a detail. That's what morning mastery looks like, and that's what money honors. Let's make it plain. Amateurs hope to get paid. Masters expect to get paid. Amateurs hustle. Masters operate by systems. Amateurs show up when it's convenient. Masters show up when it's covenant, and the way you build that mastery is not once in a while. It's daily, and it's daily at dawn, because that's when your programming is pliable. That's when your brain is primed to receive truth, to reject distraction, and to install new belief systems that serve your next financial level. You've got to use your mornings as a laboratory for greatness, a sacred space where you condition your nervous system for next-level responsibility, where you write the vision, rehearse the mission, command yourself, and align your emotions with the leader you're becoming. Because money doesn't follow confusion, money follows clarity, and clarity is a byproduct of focused solitude, repeated intention, and non-negotiable morning behavior. You've got to get to the point where your morning is so structured, so fortified, so full of conviction, that even if everything else in your day falls apart, you're still grounded because the first hour was won. Commanding your morning means you stop giving away your power to comfort, you stop gambling your future with lazy habits, you stop negotiating with your inner quitter. It means you start moving like money is attracted to your discipline, because it is. You think the big deals happen in the boardroom? No, they happen in your bedroom, when you choose to get up instead of give up, when you choose to pray instead of panic, when you choose to read instead of scroll, when you choose to plan instead of react. Those are the real decisions that separate the broke from the wealthy, the distracted from the focused, the dreamers from the builders. Every time you master your morning, you make another payment into your wealth account. Not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. You're building capacity. You're building credibility with yourself. You're building confidence that's not borrowed from a podcast or a motivational video. It's forged in the fire of your own consistency. And that kind of confidence makes you dangerous, because now you don't need momentum. You are momentum. You don't wait for the perfect conditions. You create them. The person who commands their morning will eventually command their market. Why? Because they've mastered the one thing most people never do themselves. They've proven day in and day out that they can be trusted with power, with influence, with leadership, with money, and so money begins to move. It begins to circulate, it begins to multiply, not because of luck, but because of law. You command your morning, and the rest of the day falls into formation. So decide right now, are you going to live like an amateur or lead like a master? Because your mornings are telling the truth before your bank account ever does. If you want more, become more, and start becoming more before the sun even rises. That's where legacy is built. That's where destiny is decided. That's where money learns your name, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you showed up in silence every morning with power, with purpose, and with proof that you are not here to play. You are here to command.